Research and Communications Division. Appiah Darko is in the house. He had a stint with the BBC. And he made some of the very informed reportage that you heard on BBC. He was also with Media General. I beg your pardon. Multimedia. Joy FM to be very specific. And that was where we met. And together we decided to show the world that yes, we're ready for the news. Fair and well balanced. This is the first time I'm speaking with my own brethren and friend live on radio. Appiah Darko is in the house and it's going to be really enthralling. It's going to be beautiful. Sammy works with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And every now and then you will see his write-ups. You will see him communicating. It looks like he plays a very strategic, pivotal role in the OSP. No wonder he is the director. Strategy. Well, my name Blakk Rasta, Ghana's #1, Africa's finest. Sammy, how are you doing?
I'm good, Blakk.
And thanks so much for accepting to talk to us.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
Why did you leave the BBC?
Well, you know, the career started with Joy FM, as you are aware.
Right.
Then somewhere along the line, I quit Joy FM. And then whilst I was thinking of what to do, I got a call from the BBC.
Wow.
So it's not like I even applied to work there. They apparently were looking for a journalist from Ghana, and they settled on me. So I joined them as well, worked for like 5 years. And then I decided to go to the law school, became a lawyer, and decided to do intelligence analysis because I did also do a master's in intelligence studies. And so I was combining lawyering and intelligence analysis till I finally got a job also with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So this has been a short journey.
Interesting. But why did you leave multimedia?
I did not leave multimedia per se. Typically, when I'm not so satisfied with my environment, I try to get things put in good shape. But if I'm not getting the desired results, and I think I've done my best, what I do is to leave kindly. So I think that it has to do with the fact that I felt I'd done enough, and there were a few things that I also wanted dramatic changes to that I could not effect, and I thought that my business was done. So as you're aware, I just woke up one day and just wrote my resignation letter and said I was done. But it was not because of any particular reason. I just feel that I had done what I should do, and the things that I needed to do, the platform was no longer offering me that opportunity. So,
Interesting. Appiah Darko is my guest. We are having a beautiful conversation. You and Kennedy Japan in court. It was reported all over the place. Insults held at you and so much more. What was the feeling like? How did you provoke him?
I think that for lawyers, our job is to bring out the facts and the truth. And we have been trained with certain tools to use in court. So this was in the middle of cross-examination. And so you did want to bring out the whether good or bad side of the person that you are cross-examining. I think that my whole point was also to show a bit of what I thought may not look good for the defendant. And he also thought that because he was an MP at that time, I needed to address him as honorable. But if you know the court system, we mention your name. The court is not a place where we preface with honorable this, honorable that. So I will mention your name and say Blakk Rasta. Although you may be an MP, I will not say honorable Blakk Rasta. So I think this was one of the things that triggered him, that why am I not mentioning honorable? And he also felt that I was a bit antagonistic. But like I said, I was just doing my job as a lawyer. I needed to bring out the worst in the person that I'm cross-examining, so that at least the judge and audience will know whether this person is telling the truth or not, because everything matters in court. So I just needed to do the best that I could for my client, and I did that. But unfortunately, he was not pleased with that. But in court of law, we are not there to please people.
Interesting.
We are there to either win our case or ensure that justice is served.
Have you met him since that time again?
No, not at all.
Now, the judgment went the other way. It went in favor of Kennedy Agyapong. In fact, you were defending Admiral Anas at the time. How did you feel about that?
Well, I left in the middle of that trial, so I feel that there were a few more things that could have been done. I think that the judge was totally wrong. He didn't look at the evidence on record. I also felt that he may have been actuated by his own dislike as well, judging from what the client had done, especially with the judiciary. And I felt that a bit of bias may have played. Because if you read the judgment very well and you compare it to the evidence on record, the defendant was not able to provide any shred of evidence on record. And even the evidence that he brought, they were not factual. So I did not see why that case went in the favor of the defendant. And the defendant was treated, the plaintiff was treated as if he was the defendant or he was an accused person. So in a way, it came across, the judgment came across as if it was a criminal trial.
Right.
Where some of the words that were used by the judge is usually for a criminal trial. So, but I was one of the first people who had advised my client not to sue anyone for defamation. But
Anas still went ahead to do it.
Once he decided that he was going to sue, as a lawyer, you can only advise your client, because I felt like the system wasn't was not going to be in his favor. I honestly felt that because of his history with the judiciary, I didn't think it was the right time to have filed any action. Rather, if you have studied him, you notice that all the time people sue him. Rather, I always say that he's one of he's more sued in Ghanaian court for defamation or breach of privacy than any other journalist in Ghana. And he had never lost a case.
Wow.
Until he rather sued someone for defamation. That's when he lost a case.
Interesting. Is Anas clean? You worked with him. Is he clean? Many people have said that, he has land guards, he's somebody who's been taking people's lands and so on and so forth. Your work with him, did you see anything dirty about Anas?
I think that a lot of the things that were said about him were more of misconceptions and propaganda. And I could understand if you're somebody in the anti-corruption space for a long time, you will gather a lot of enemies. And if you look at the time he started this job, I think it was over 2 decades, he would have accumulated a lot of enemies. And I feel that there was a convergence of his enemies who wanted to hold a funeral for him. That's how I would describe it. So I feel that a lot of the people who may have been hurt or who may have been exposed in all these years he was doing his job came together to say that we want to get this man out of the system. And so you could see that some of the issues about land, the very little that I know was that some of the lands they talk about, he had lawfully acquired them. And he was not even, say, a grantor. So if someone had an issue, the person rather should go to a grantor. Let's say you and I are fighting over a piece of land.
Right.
But you claim you bought it from A, I also bought it from B. Then if I'm in possession and you say I've dispossessed you and so I've stolen your land, it doesn't make sense. It's like the two of us are all trying to get that same land. It doesn't mean that I've come to dispossess you of that land by force, because I also am tracing my route to someone and you're also tracing your route. That's why the court is there to solve. But you see that they will turn it into as if he's just come and taken over someone's land. And quite frankly, some of the stories too were not accurate, especially when they say that he will demand monies from people, and when they don't pay, that's when
he brings the stories out.
That was completely, in fact, if there was anything that was false, those stories were the most false stories you could ever come across. Because if you know the gentleman very well, he's interested in getting a name for his work. And if he suffers to put together a documentary and his lawyers review it and say that the evidence are strong and that nobody can sue you for, say, breach of privacy, he's so happy to bring it out. That is not the time you can even come and say, let me give you this money, because the work he's going to put out will bring him more glory than the small money you are bringing to him. Now, look at the BBC documentary, the one that he did that was promoted by the BBC, the number 12. And I heard the amount they said were being brought, so that because he didn't accept it, that's why it came out. And I'm like, do you know the cost of that production alone?
Wow.
The cost of that production alone and the money they were mentioning, if you're anybody who is a bit witty, you know that they don't match.
Wow.
This is a production that was going worldwide, so expensive. And you think you can bring, say, $500,000 or $1 million? That's so ridiculous. So when people say those things, those of us who were lawyers and we've seen the kind of production and kind of the quality of work, and when he brings it for it to be legal and all that, we're like, this guy is not going to throw away this whole investigation for your money, because if he's able to do it well, there are donors who support his work. He goes across the whole world. And so why would he sacrifice that for a very small money in Ghana when he could get name across the world? So, like I said, I'm not here to defend him. At a point in time, I was his lawyer.
This is 3FM.
And I think that we've been unfair to him. And I also told him that when you fight corruption, when you fight mismanagement, when you are always against wrong, the wrong will always fight back.
Interesting.
And so I think he had accepted that it was the wrong that is fighting him back. I mean, nobody is perfect. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, right.
But I will choose a man who puts his life on the line to bring out rot in society to the other man who has been exposed.
What are the imperfections of Anas? That's the last one on Anas. You said nobody's perfect. What are the imperfections?
So when I say nobody is perfect, he can get some things wrong. But to the extent that people tie to, for instance, they talk about even the cut and paste. It's not true. Anytime we have defended him, he brings to us the raw unedited tape. And we always presented to the court the raw unedited tape. So it's not true. But you know, when you're doing a production for, say, your television station or your YouTube channel, you cannot play the raw unedited tape, which can take, say, 3 days or 5 days to watch. You need to bring out, that's why we call it news. That's why we call it documentary. That's why we call it investigative work. So you need to show the people the part of it that actually brings out the story. It does not mean that it's a cut and paste, because when he's ready to come to court, he brings the raw unedited tape. So you watch from the beginning to the end. Now, when some people say that then it's cut and paste, blah, blah, I say, yeah, I'm saying that many journalists get their stories wrong. And sometimes they may be lapses. But I think that for the greater part, a lot of the work that he did were solid.
Interesting. Sammy Darko is my guest. He's coming all the way from the office of the Special Prosecutor, and he's the director, strategy.
You brought out my past. You let people think that I came here to defend Anas. But I was a lawyer.
Yes.
In fact, when you are a lawyer for someone, people think that you are part of the person. So people say that, I have secret things and I'm recording. And I was a lawyer. Just like everybody needs a lawyer. So I was a lawyer rendering my services at that time.
But what's your relationship with him right now?
I mean, we have a very good relationship because beyond being a lawyer-client relationship, there was also friendship.
Friendship, okay. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to go into the business of the day, the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What is that?
It's a good question because many people do not understand the office. So I will take this opportunity to break it down. So Ghana has been trying to fight corruption for over 3 decades. We've tried using the military, we've tried using the civil means, and still we're not making a headway.
Right.
And some of the factors that had been identified, not just in Ghana, but across the world, was that it's not good to have a politician fight corruption. In other words, they are saying that if you have a politician who you give him the authority to fight corruption, he is unable or unwilling to punish or investigate or prosecute those that he works with. So the whole idea across the world is that every country must set up an independent office that is not controlled by the executive.
Right.
And that could investigate and then prosecute independent of the executive. So this is not just a Ghanaian phenomenon. We call something United Nations Convention Against Corruption. It's the whole world's resolution that says that this is the best practice that countries must go. And you know, in Ghana, we've had this whole long debate that the Attorney General, who is also the Minister for Justice, we must separate it because he sits in cabinet with the ministers, and he's also a party man. How do we expect him to look into the face or the eyes of his colleagues and then punish them? And so Ghana had long wanted to separate the office, but then we got this perfect solution, which is that we're going to set up an independent office. Then we will put someone who is not a member of the executive in charge. So that person should be able to take on members of the executive, members of the political class, politically exposed person, meaning that relatives or close associates of the politician, as well as public servants and anyone in the private service, in the private sector, who kind of engages in corruption with a politician. And so that is why Ghana came up with this office, to say that this office is not being controlled by the Attorney General or the Minister for Justice. This office is not being controlled by the President. And then he's not under any ministry or department or agency. So he's to do his work independent of all the old systems. And then properly investigate. And so they also give it the power to say, you don't need someone to come and complain to you before you investigate. If you even see it on WhatsApp, and you think there is ground enough for you to investigate, go into it. So the OSP is the only office in Ghana currently that is not controlled by the executive. If you take Iyoko, for instance, they are directly under the Attorney General. The same thing, police will need the Attorney General's permission to go ahead. The same thing for NIB and the other investors. But for the OSP, he doesn't need permission from the Attorney General to investigate or to prosecute. So that's the difference between the OSP and the existing agencies. And then the lawmaker also said that this office that I've created, I'm making it independent, not just by name, but I'm also saying that the president cannot remove the SP unless for stated misbehavior. And if he has to be removed, he must be taken through an impeachment. Unlike the other heads, if you take, for instance, the IGP, he can be removed today. If you take the Iyoko boss, he can be removed today. But for the OSP, you can't just remove him because you don't like him or you don't like what he's doing. unless he's done something wrong, and he must go through impeachment processes, just like the way the Chief Justice is going through a process. That's how you remove the SP. So we did all this to say that we now should have an office that should be able to operate independently of the executive and be able to hold the political actors accountable. So that is the genesis of the OSP. But people have misconstrued it to think that it is, say, a unit or a department under the Attorney General, or it is an arm of, say, the Ghana Police or another agency. It's not. Now, it is an office that combines 4 functions. The first one is that it has full police powers. So
right.
It is able to investigate, arrest, detain, and do everything that the police is able to do. And then when it has sufficient evidence, it then goes directly to court to prosecute without going to the Attorney General for permission. And then it's also supposed to recover proceeds of corruption. So the things that you use the corrupt money to purchase or to buy, we are supposed to recover that from you. And then the last one, which most people have not averted their minds to, is that he's supposed to take steps to prevent corruption.
Right.
Taking steps to prevent corruption involves public education.
That's true.
It also involves doing corruption risk analysis. Mm-hmm. It also involves telling government agencies that what this contract that you're about to sign is tainted. And I think that it will. That's why the first special prosecutor did a corruption risk analysis with the Appiah deal and came up with a report to say that it is tainted with corruption and don't go ahead. So those other functions of the OSP, when it is doing, people say he's talking too much or the OSP is talking too much. But I tell people that one of the main functions of the OSP is to talk, because they must talk till you as a Ghanaian or the politician or the public servant or the private man gets tired of corruption. And when they are talking, it's not because they want to talk, but it's also a function of the office. So You see that one office has been tasked with doing 4 things. But people also think that the OSP is like an octopus. They think that it can investigate every crime. That is not true. The lawmaker decided that because you are a specialized body and you are independent, I will limit you to particular offenses that you can tackle. So it says only corruption and any offense that will arise out of corruption. So there are some things that people expect.
This is 3FM.
There are some things that people expect the OSP to do, yet the OSP does not have the power to do.
I understand that.
And so when the OSP says, I'm unable to do it, then they say you are weak, you are not functioning, you are not this. But it's also because of the restricted mandate within which the OSP functions.
I'm sure you're talking about the Cecilia Dapar case as one of those.
Yeah, there are so many other cases. So like you said, the Madam Cecilia Dapar case, people have said that what happened was that the OSP did a thorough investigation on the mandate that they were investigating her for corruption. Now, when you investigate someone, sometimes it may turn the other way, as in the evidence you may get may not support the particular offenses that you are mandated by law to do. And so if it turns the other way, what you do is that you give it to the agency that has the mandate to do it. And that's what we did. And many people were disappointed. And rightly so. Even people in the office were disappointed themselves, because Ghana lacks, I always say that Ghana has plenty laws, but we don't have efficient laws. If you go to many jurisdictions, the one who investigates corruption has a particular law they call Unexplained Wealth Order. Now, this Unexplained Wealth Order allows the prosecutor to go to court without a criminal trial and say that I've investigated Blakk Rasta. I've looked at his lawful and legitimate income. So I've looked at the work he does. Maybe he has 2 other companies. He receives annual money from here, blah, blah. And I've put all together and I've looked at the assets that he owns. Blakk Rasta has 20 houses. He has 50 cars. He has 10 farms. And when I put them together, they don't match. And so I've done my work. Right. And then the court will now tell you, okay, so now tell us, how did you acquire the rest of them which your legitimate money does not match? And so you will be then at the mercy of the court to explain how you came by your money. But because we don't have those laws, we are limited. At every stage, the law expects that you will prove how Blakk Rasta corrupted himself, how Blakk Rasta got the 50 houses, how Blakk Rasta got the 20 cars. And sometimes it's not as simple as people think. We can follow the money and all that. Remember, the people we are investigating, they are people who are in the top echelons of society. They have the best lawyers, they have the best accountants, they are able to hide things in a certain way. So sometimes it's very difficult. You can feel that there is something wrong, but you are not able to land that particular. That's why we need these other laws. So when we do, and we are unable to proceed further, it does not mean that the OSP is weak. It does not mean that the OSP did not do a good job.
It was said that you took so many hours to count Cecilia the past money. How true was that?
Oh, it's not true. It's utterly false.
Utterly false.
Yeah, there were certain things that we didn't want to bring to the public because of this presumption of innocence. Other than that, we could have. There was also another rumor, especially which is peddled by some people who are disgruntled about the OSP's operation, that we went to a house in a full glare of camera and all that. That is also false. You know what? Anytime the OSP is undergoing an operation, we film our operation.
Okay.
Because we don't want you to turn up the following day and say, they came here and took this money, they came here and took that and all that. So we film it. Now, the fact that we are filming our operation does not mean that they are journalists there filming. So I think that Madam Cecilia Dapa may have told his people that, oh, they are filming. But that does not mean that TV3 was there or 3FM was there to film.
Right.
We film for our own purposes. Currently, if you enter our office as a suspect, everything you are saying is being filmed.
Okay.
So if you're not careful, then you say that we are media. It's not that we are media people. We just transparent. The law made us transparent. So we do not want you to come and say things which are not true. So when we are conducting a search, even SML, they will tell you that when we went into their offices, we were filming. Because we don't want you to come and lie tomorrow and say, we did this, we slapped you, we did that.
I think it's fair.
Yes.
I think it's fair. I think it's very fair.
What happened with Cecilia the Power was that we were filming everything. And so they said that we had brought media and we did. No, it's not true.
Okay.
It's because we have filmed. But yes, we did discover the money and eventually we told the public about it. But this issue about counting machine and blah, blah, I mean, I think they were exaggeration. But of course, currently people know how much we brought. So.
Yes. Okay. So I'm speaking with Sammy Darko all the way from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And Alamisi Amidu, Martin Alamisi Amidu, if he had all the protection of the state, you know, he could have his own security, do that. Why did he think that his work was being interfered in?
You're asking me a question of a period that I was not in the office.
Okay. Is it possible that your work can be interfered in, just like Martin Amidu talked about, if you have all the independence to work?
Yes, severally. I mean, we've always said that we have independence, but we don't have absolute independence. For instance, we don't have financial independence. We always have to go cap in hand begging Ministry of Finance for money.
Oh, really?
Yes, because when budget is approved and all that, it's not like you get the entire budget. So you even hear people say they've been given so much money, blah, blah. No. Budgets are released quarterly or spaces, and sometimes if they are not released, what can you do? So that's, in a way, there is no financial independence because you have to depend on the executive for your money. That's why there's been a proposal that for the anti-corruption institutions, if we could dedicate a percentage from the already existing funds, say road fund or NHIS fund, then you say 1% will go to anti-corruption fight. Then that money will be sitting there, so we will not have to go to Ministry of Finance and ask for it. So one of the ways that you can be controlled is through funding as well.
Through funding.
We are humans. We have relatives. We have people we look up to. Blakk Rasta's friend could be arrested, and Blakk Rasta could call me and say, "Sammy, can you do something about this, my man?" Blah blah. So those things are there. But what matters is that we have tried so much to be transparent as an office. When a case comes up, we list the case and we tell people about it. And that's what others too don't like.
Do you have your own police?
Yes, we have our own operational team. But at the moment, the office do what we call collaboration with the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service. So we have teams from the Ghana Armed Forces and the police that are assigned permanently to our office. Yeah.
If the office is justified by what you have said, tell me, what have been your achievements since you took office?
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So let's begin by also letting people know that The office is not for a profit or a commercial making venture. You often hear some MPs and some people say, how much have you brought to the country? How much have you saved? You pumped so much money into the office. And I'm like, we have not pumped so much money into the office from 2018 till now.
Really?
We've not pumped so much money into it because there's so many things left to be done in the office.
We bought you bulletproof cars.
See, you bought me. See, do you know how many bulletproof cars the security services have? Can you imagine?
In Ghana?
Yes. And I'm also saying that the work of someone who looks into corruption, he's a person who needs
protection.
A bulletproof car.
Okay.
If you go to all our counterparts from Nigeria to Sierra Leone, all of them, they are in bulletproof cars because they are the ones investigating people who have so much money, so much resources that can cause mayhem. So those people are the ones that need protection. That's why some people felt uncomfortable when a media house had put out that the office was going to procure some bulletproof cars because the office needs those cars to work. But I'm even saying that the bulletproof cars the office needs is not what the office has. Now, the office started in 2018 by Martin Amidu. The problem has been that usually when you are setting up an office, you give the office what we call seed money. The OSP has not had a seed money. So before they set up 3FM, they made sure that you have a studio, a console, everything here before they brought you in.
Right.
That is not the story of the OSP. So the OSP, if the OSP did not have base money to start with, so the OSP has constantly been going after annual budget to build the office. So 3FM here, then your annual budget is what you use some to buy a console.
Right.
Then the following time you use some to buy these computers. Then you use some to buy the. So how much is left for operation? You understand what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to tell Ghanaians is that there's a lot more that needs to be done. And to justify what the office has done, we will say for starters, from 2018 to 2021, when the new Special Prosecutor, Kissie Jabin, took over,
right,
we could say that Mr. Amidu did his best. At least the JAPA corruption risk assessment he did. He saved the money, the country's millions of cedis.
Wow.
But people don't measure successes by that because they did not feel that money leave the system, so they think nothing was done. Can you imagine if it had gone ahead? What would have Ghana lost? That is what we call the preventive work of the OSP. He's preventing the corruption ahead of time. It's just like the way people feel they are walking about in Ghana, nothing is happening to them, so they think that security services are not working. Without them working, there's no way you could have walked about freely in Ghana. But you might be sitting there and insulting them that they are not working. But it's because some people are working, that's why you're able to walk free. But you are not feeling the direct work they are doing, so you think that they are not doing anything. So you say, oh, let's send them to the farms and let them go and work. What are the soldiers? But you are not feeling it directly. So the preventive work of the OSP, sometimes you will not feel it directly. I'll give you another example. When the new Special Prosecutor took over and revived the office, our first major work was at Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Service. And what we did was that there was something called advanced ruling that already goods and services that were already discounted, they had the chance to also further discount it. And that was breeding corruption because you can say that, okay, I will reduce it by 10%, but give me 5% of books. So we were not getting revenues and all that. We came to fight that system, and eventually Parliament had to remove that provision that allowed them to do that. Now, as that has been removed, you cannot quantify the monies that we would have lost over a period of time.
Yes, if that thing had remained.
If it had remained. The same thing with auction of goods and services. We were saying that when somebody brings a car to Ghana, let's give an example. He bought the car for 10 cedis in US. He came to Ghana, duty was 30 cedis. So how much will be the price of the car now?
That's 40. Yes.
40, because 10 cedis, 40 cedis. Yeah. And he's unable to pay, and the state confiscates it. Now, if you are going to auction it. How much should you sell it?
At least 40 cedis.
Yes, you are saying at least 40 cedis. But the law is that whoever is buying at auction must pay the duty and taxes payable. And the duty and taxes payable was 30 cedis. So it means that what you are coming to buy from auction is the 10 cedis a person paid, which you are not going to pay. So you must pay 30 cedis.
Wow.
But then we were having situations where it would be sold for 5 cedis.
Wow.
And the state was losing so much money. And the OSP went there to streamline that, and no, you must let the people pay the duty and taxes payable on it. Now, even customs had reported that after our work, there was over 300% jump in revenue.
Wow.
But if you are sitting down, you are not able to quantify
You can see it.
these taxes, and you think that the OSP has not done
3FM.
nothing at all. But these are huge monies we are talking about. Can you imagine how many cars come in a day? Or how many goods come in a day? And what our operations have brought about. Let's go to schools. What would they call the payroll? We realized that although there's a Ghana card and all that, people were still taking monies for work no done.
Ghost names?
Ghost names. So we decided that we designed the whole country. And if you heard at the Public Accounts Committee, the Controller and Accountant General said that they have teamed up with us to continue.
Yes.
We started and it halted.
Yes.
Now, the first phase that we did, which we did in just Tamale, Northern region alone, we were able to save the country 34 million Ghana cedis.
Interesting.
Just from ghost names in the Northern region alone.
When was this?
This was in 2023.
Interesting.
So we're able to save Ghana 34 million just in Northern region. If the exercise had not halted and we had continued to all the other regions, you can imagine.
Why did it halt?
Well, there were internal issues with controller, but those things have been resolved. And so now they've also even publicly come out to say that we are going back to
Yes, I saw that yesterday.
What I'm trying to say
This
is
is 3FM.
if you are there, you might think the OSP has done nothing, but see 34 million.
Yes.
Imagine it was not discovered in a period of 10 years. It will be going into private pockets.
Yes.
For all those years. So just this exercise alone. And for those regions you've not come to, some people heard that the OSP was doing this. They decided to stop. And we just did not end there. We also prosecuted
exactly what
people.
I was going to
We also
ask.
prosecuted.
This is 3FM.
We also prosecuted people, about 4 or 5 people that
were involved in that.
We found direct evidence against them. We also prosecuted them and made them refund the monies they took over that period of time.
Did they pay?
Yes, they paid.
Interesting.
So they were convicted on their own plea and they were made to do what we call restitution.
Did they just pay or they went to jail?
They did what we call restitution. So the law allows us to do plea bargain, where you don't want the state to waste so much resources in taking you through lengthy trial. So you cut the trial by saying, I'm guilty. And then I'm willing to render whatever I took from the state and then pay a penalty on it.
Interesting.
So that's what they did. But that means you are an ex-convict.
Yes.
Remember, and if you're an ex-convict, there are certain things you can't do in Ghana.
Oh, it goes into your
record. And so people just think that type of punitive measure is not strong. It's strong enough because you become an ex-convict, you have paid what you stole, you've also paid some penalty out of that. But I'm just saying we didn't end there. And there are plethora of stories I can keep on telling you. The Tema Oil Refinery in 2023, it was up for sale and all that. We did a corruption risk analysis and said that no, it's tainted with corruption. Please, you can't. We gave a directive that it cannot be sold, and the contract was abrogated. Now, people cannot quantify how much of money we have saved the state. Imagine it had gone on. So this is just the preventive aspect that I'm saying you don't see. There are so many contracts that we have halted, running into millions of Ghana cedis because the contracts were not tenable. If you look at the investigation we just did at Ghana Airport, right?
Paul Adumochre, yeah.
Ghana Airports, let's call it Ghana Airports. You realize that they have terminated the contracts, right? Yeah. They've terminated the contract.
Right.
You have no idea how much revenue we have saved the state just by the investigation.
But the people are
and the
hitting
termination.
back. They are hitting back. They say they want judgment debt, kind of.
Yes, they say they want judgment debt, but it doesn't mean that the state will pay them a judgment debt. They need to prove in court right? And I'm saying that if you look at the value of what they said, they are talking about $64 million or something.
What?
So if investigations have shown that, say, the contract did not go through the right procedure and it's been terminated, that's a lot of saving for the state. I'm just saying that these are the works that we do. We block payments. Even if you look at the Northern Development Authority, the contract allegedly was bloated. And before they could pay the last tranche of it, the OSP blocked that payment. And the case is in court. It's in the Tamale High Court. And trial is ongoing. 4 people.
Interesting.
The three chief executives of the Northern Development Authority and a private businessman are standing trial. The trial has been going on for almost 3 years now. And so I'm just bringing your attention to only the preventive work of OSP.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which is not even, say, prosecution.
This airport thing, I mean, it's been said, Paul Adomachwe has said several times, no money was actually paid to anybody. Why should the OSP be interested in that when the nation never lost any money?
Because the matter is under investigation. I do not want to speak a lot about it, but I think what we have put out publicly is that we are aware that there were breaches in how the contract were signed, and usually it's not about what monies have been paid, it's about whether the procedure have been followed, and if it had not been detected, would monies not have been paid anyway, right? Because this year they would have earned something and monies would have been paid. So that argument is not tenable when you say money has not been paid, because a lot of money has been spent. If money has not been paid, why would the company say it's demanding for, say, $64 million in return? Because there's been investment.
Yes.
So how do you tell me no monies have been paid? Are you getting me?
I get it.
Those arguments are not tenable. But like I said, it's under investigations, and I do not want to usually talk about matters that are
right. Why is Ken Ofori-Atta eluding arrest and these invitations? Why is it difficult to have him when Americans can easily come here and have some of our people extradited to the United States almost every now and then? Why is it so difficult for us to have a reciprocal?
I don't think it's difficult. I think it's just a process. And this is one of the matters that sometimes when I go into our social media handles, I see a lot of Ghanaians comment on it, and they express what you are just expressing. But it is born out of a misunderstanding of the process. So when someone decides not to return, that's when you declare the person a fugitive from justice.
Right.
I think we've gone through the motions now. We've been able to declare him wanted based on the court warrant. He's still challenging the court warrant, by the way. Having lost in the High Court, he says he wants to file an appeal. But the point I'm making is that we have done what we should legally do as an office, which is that you declare the person wanted, you inform Interpol about it. Interpol is just a network. They don't arrest people. They will just alert you that this person is in this jurisdiction, and then you deal with that country's law enforcement. So what has happened so far is that we know that now he's in America, right? And so we have sent an extradition request through our central authority, which will be the Attorney General. Now, when we say we've sent an extradition request, it means that we have formally informed the Attorney General.
This is 3FM.
We would like U.S. to extradite this person back to Ghana. So AG2 needs to work with the American authorities and us to bring him back. And it's a legal process.
It's a legal process.
And that is where many Ghanaians are not understanding. They think it's slow. The same way Americans are able to come here, they went through the same procedure that we are going through. So it's not like they just come here. FBI has no power to come to Ghana and pick anyone.
Kissia Jabin, he was never given any chance, not a dog's chance, by the last prosecutor. He called him a small boy, I remember. Do you think that Kissia Jabin has proved him wrong?
I think that the Special Prosecutor has done what is humanly possible, and has used very little resources to achieve a lot. And his achievement is phenomenal. Sometimes he will tell us that it's when he's out of the office that Ghanaians would appreciate the kind of work that went in. Because remember, he came to meet an office that was practically dead. He had to revive the office. And we had to build the office from scratch. An empty building he had to now ensure that the office is properly set up. We have to get equipment, tools for people. God being good there, we've had some EU support us with an ISO certified forensic lab. We are building modern interrogation room. We've had our systems in place and all that. So the first major work was to build the office and then also employ staff, because he came to meet zero staff. Those who were there were on secondment from other security agencies and they had to return. But now the USP now also have its first permanent staff, which is about 251.
Oh, beautiful. 251.
Including the special prosecutor, headquartered in
including you?
Yes, headquartered in Accra. So, and then we have been able to build our divisions. The OSP has about 7 divisions. We have the prosecutorial division, we have the investigative division, we have the asset recovery and management division, then we have my division, which is the strategy research, we have HR, finance, and then we have operations division, the boots on the ground. And all these divisions have now been properly, we have SOPs, we have rules of engagement, everything has now been set
Do you have
up.
regional offices too?
They are work in progress. I mean, this year we were hoping to be in Ashanti region and then in a northern region as well. Then we intend to go to the rest of the region, but we are doing it pace by pace. But that has not stopped us from having cases in the regions. So we have cases in the northern region. We have about 3 trials ongoing currently in the northern region. And then we also have a trial in Ashanti region. We have some in central region as well, and then Greater Accra region. So we are not limited by geographical location, because our jurisdiction is the entire Ghana. So once we're able to know that you've committed an act of corruption, we are able to step in. But the whole plan is to be in every region in Ghana. But the point I was making was that just building the office alone and still making cases was a major work for the SP. You remember, we worked for 16 months without pay. And at a point in time, the SP was giving out pocket money to people. And some of us too had to give some money to some of our staff.
Wow.
Because we were without pay. I mean, if this was because he so there was so much to gain from, why would the man go through all that? But the whole point was that he realized that the mantle had fallen on him and he needed to deliver. And so what we needed to do, we did. So
This is
the first part
3FM.
of his work was to build an office that will be respected, that will have transparency, that will meet all the statutory requirements, and then get Ghanaians to trust it. That, I think, he has delivered. The second part, which many people said they were not seeing, was the investigation and prosecution. Remember, this is a man who faced impeachment 2 times in his tenure.
I see.
Twice he faced impeachment. Now, if somebody tells you that going through an impeachment is not a joke, just look at the current Chief Justice. It will tell you what it means to go through an impeachment. And so, when people say that things have delayed and all that, you also realize that the office has faced so many battles. 2, he was battling for his office, and at the same time battling for his life. People are going to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme Court to declare the office as unconstitutional, and we had to also fight that battle in court. So I'm not giving...
battling for his life? You said battling for his life?
No, I mean battling for his life as in battling for the office. Of course, there are people too who hate the special prosecutor as well. And would
Do
want
you have
to,
something like that? We're hearing about attempted assassination, attacks on him. Did anything like that happen?
There have been attacks on the SP's life, that I can say, but I can't go into details.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there have been attacks on the SP's life. But that's not where I want us to deviate. I want us to... The first point I made is that he had to build the office. The second one was to make cases. But I'm saying that in the midst of making cases, the office itself was under trial. As in people challenging its authority, that it should be under the AG, why is it doing things independently? So the average Ghanaian must also understand that the office has gone through a lot, and it is now that the office is stable and now making more cases. Now we have 67 active cases. We have secured 7 convictions, and currently we have 8 trials in about 4 regions across Ghana. And the average criminal trial in Ghana, Blakk Rasta, as a lawyer, I can tell you, is 3 years. Even for somebody who steals a goat, The reason why people think those who steal go get faster judgment is that sometimes they go to court and maybe the police have told them, "Go, come and plead guilty," and he comes and say, "My lord, I'm guilty." Then, of course, straight away, you are pronounced on your own plea. But if the person says, "I'm not guilty," he's going to go through that whole trial.
Why is it so long?
It takes long because there are in between motions that are filed by lawyers, and then sometimes the evidence is being challenged and all that. So it takes a while. But I'm just giving an example that the average criminal trial is 3 years. And yet people were expecting that the SP, who is just in his 4th term, should have by now been able to put almost everybody who is alleged to be corrupt in cells. That's not workable. Our cases are now ripening. Right, our cases are now ripening because of the jury. But I'm also saying that we were working within a constraint, and that constraint, every reasonable person must understand that it also hampers on work delivery.
This is
nonetheless,
3FM.
I've just told you a tall list of the achievements of the office.
Yes.
Nonetheless, so now that we're on a sound footing, people are going to see more people standing trial.
Interesting.
But this whole idea that people can be arrested, a person can be arrested today and jailed tomorrow, is not realistic.
Yes, I understand that.
People too have their liberties. We've chosen democracy, we've chosen rule of law.
Right.
Are you aware that even confiscation, when we confiscate someone's asset, are you aware that the person even appeals on it? So people are constantly using the judicial process to also stall, delay, and all that. And people must also understand it in that context.
Okay. What are your salaries like at the Office of the Special Prosecutor? What's the salary of the Special Prosecutor?
What's the salary? I think that the conditions of service in the office needs to improve, right? You do not put a man who has to fight corruption among the richest people in society and give him, say, 3,000 seats. I'm just giving an example. It's a recipe for disaster.
What's his salary?
If he goes into, I do not know the salary of the special prosecutor.
Don't you think that a man fighting corruption should have his salaries and all those things in the public?
I think it should be in the public, and he has no problem with that. It's about the system. So,
how about yours? What is it like?
My salary. You want me to put out my salary currently? I don't have a problem putting out my salary, but my position is equivalent of a commissioner of police. So whatever a commissioner of police is to get,
what does the commissioner of the police take? I'm ignorant about that. Tell me.
Well, I can also be disclosing other people's.
Why is it difficult for civil servants to tell how much they receive?
But let me also give you an example of because of the risks and other things involved. You may not want to disclose it, but there are things as a commissioner you must enjoy that I'm not enjoying. For instance, I'm not in a government bungalow.
I understand that.
For instance, I do not have 2 vehicles.
So it's to prevent family members from coming to you and demanding so much money they get to know.
I'm just giving you conditions.
I understand that.
I just started saying conditions. I said I don't have an official bungalow. I do not have 2 vehicles at my disposal.
But you have a bulletproof car.
I don't have a bulletproof car.
Why?
And I'm not supposed to even say this in public.
But your life is also at risk.
You're putting my life in danger by now by letting me say I don't have a bulletproof car. So now it means that people know that I'm driving a car that's not bulletproof. It's not good. That's why sometimes we say that certain things are not to be said outside. It doesn't mean that people are hiding things. It's because you also don't want to be too vulnerable, right? As you've just put out there. That's why I told you that people who fight corruption ought to be protected.
Yes.
Because if you do not take care and protect them, how do you expect them to give it their all?
Per your work, which is the most corrupt region in Ghana?
Is a study that has to be done that we have not done, because my division is responsible for such studies. We've not had funding to do, but I'm happy you've mentioned it, because one of the first research work they are supposed to do, which they've not been able to do because of money issues, is to find out which region is the most corrupt region.
Why is the OSP not investigating the Kwabena Eduboahin issue? If you have to move money from one place into his personal account, office money, that's corruption. Why is Iyoko handling that instead?
So, like I initially said, everyone in their jurisdiction. In Ghana, when we say corruption, it's not as all of you understand corruption to mean. So this has been one of the problems the OSP has been facing. That's why when I said that there are so many offenses, people expect the OSP to be the one investigating and prosecuting, and yet we are not, because it may not fall within what the lawmaker says is corruption. So in Ghana, every offense that someone commits is corruption, especially if it involves a politician. But offenses have names, right?
What is the most frustrating case you have had? I saw your boss, Kisie Jabin, saying, complaining the last time, Abua Onudria, and all that, tree proverbs and all that. Tell me, which has been the most frustrating?
I don't think the XP was complaining, and I'm with the passing of Daddy Lumba, may he so rest in peace. People are now appreciating the whole idea behind the Ankwanoma song. So I don't think it's more about he frustrated or not. He was simply sounding the bell that if we do not put things in place, then we will not be able to fight corruption as we should. I think all our cases have been very frustrating, and we cannot pick and choose anyone, because the one that you even think is the smallest is the one that you may face problem, because you are dealing with two people who are unwilling to tell you anything, right? It's not like murder where you may find a dead body, or you may get relatives who are disgruntled who may want to tell you what happened, or a disgruntled girlfriend or not. In this instance, those people who are engaging in corruption, they are the ones who don't want you to know.
This is
and if they get a chance, they will eliminate you.
That's right.
Yeah, so all corruption cases are very frustrating. But just to further check, they are oral cases, right? Oral cases mean that there was a team that was set up to put together some cases. Those cases went to the Attorney General. They didn't come to the OSP. So OSP is not investigating. So the case you mentioned, I think, was one of the oral cases. So we went to Attorney General. So sometimes people have misconstrued and think that maybe the oral cases are with us. But there are cases that we are already investigating, that we are continuing to investigate. So if there is an aspect of a Dubois and his case that the AG felt directly under the mandate of the OSP, he would have referred it to the OSP.
Should it come from him? Because you said that once you feel even...
But they are in court, which means that they think that they had sufficient evidence.
There's something going on.
No, they had sufficient evidence under their mandate to prosecute the person, right? I told you it's about mandate issue.
Right.
Because if you don't have the mandate and you go, you'll be thrown out of court.
It's the Office of the Special Prosecutors, Sami Jemfi. Did I say Sami Jemfi? Sami
Don't worry,
Darko.
people always say. I went somewhere and some old woman said, "Hey, welcome, Sami Jemfi."
Unfortunately, we have run out of time. But in just about 1 minute, is the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Special Prosecutor extravagant?
Not at all. I think that we are the least officials that spend money, because I think the reason why people think the office may be extravagant may be due to Kisie Jabin's lifestyle.
Bulletproof cars.
No, lifestyle.
And his lifestyle.
Because if you ever watch his vetting, you could see the suit he came in.
Yeah,
that was before he became a special prosecutor.
Right.
And you saw his watch. I've forgotten the name of the watch. I'm not into watches, but it was a designer watch.
Rolex, yeah.
Yes. And this is someone who already had a good life.
Oh, okay.
He had bought very good cars. He likes sports cars.
He went to school in England.
No, he went to school in America and in Canada.
Yes.
So he bought, he likes sports cars.
Yes.
People are projecting his private life before he became a special prosecutor as if that is what he's doing. In fact, if anything at all, I think he's become poorer by taking this job.
Interesting.
And myself, I think I've become poorer by taking this job.
Oh, really? Anas was paying you better?
It's not why you think Anas was my only client. I have so many clients, right? Because this job, there's always camera on you.
Yeah.
Everybody, whatever you do, everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
So you can't even do anything. I don't know if you understand. And this is the only job you are doing. But as a lawyer, I was a security analyst. I was also teaching as a lecturer at University of Professional Studies. I had so many other contracts I was on to, but I can't do any of that now.
Wow.
Because it will be conflict of interest. It will be that you are not being upright. And now you are up and strong, upright man. Everywhere you go, there are cameras on you. So doing this job, you don't get the perks and other things that other people get.
Right.
Even if, say, you were to take a per diem and you overtake, somebody will raise an issue. And you said you are fighting corruption. So I'm saying that this job is a very sacrificial job.
Okay.
And I think that the extravagance tag they put on the SP is from his private lifestyle before he became an SP, and also is the propaganda.
I'm sure Paul Adumochiri is going to disagree.
It's the entire propaganda because when you talk about the what car does the SP use? The SP uses a Land Cruiser. What car does the IGP use?
Why do you reduce the bail bond when you know that, this is what the person needs in order to get bail? Then you come back and reduce it. Is it that you are confused or you don't really know what it is that you want to try and prevent?
We're not confused. Even for a court of competent jurisdiction, when a person is not able to meet a bail, the court reconsiders it when an application is made.
But that's supposed to be the standard. If we lose you, this is what we want to go for. Now, if you decide to lower the thing, then it means you are compromising.
Not necessarily. It doesn't mean you are compromising. So we may have set a certain bail bond for you. When we lower to another bail bond, it doesn't mean we have compromised. It only means that we still think that the new one is sufficient for us. Remember that you will set your bail bond, but the person may not be able to meet it, right? And when the person doesn't meet it,
the person should be there. The person should remain there until
the law is that after 48 hours, you must present the person before a court. So the person will still go to court and get bail anyway, right? And then the whole idea is to follow the law.
So the court will give this person bail even if they realize that he's not able to meet the bail bond?
No, if after... The law says that after 40, we can't keep a suspect for more than 48 hours. After 48 hours, we need to present the person before a court.
And tell the court that he's not been able to meet his bail bond.
Yes, if you put the person before court, the court will set a bail bond for the person. Now,
really?
Yes, if the person is not able to meet the court's bail bond, then it's up to the person and the court.
Okay.
That one, the judge will give a warrant or something, and then you officially will be there, right?
Is Kisi embittered about the reportage of Paul Adumochiri?
Never at all. I think that if Kisi was, then there was plenty opportunity during his reportage that amounted to what we call obstruction of justice.
Interesting.
That many people in the office are told that this obstruction of justice, you can pick this person about. But that's why he has said that the office is not for personal fight.
Okay.
If it was for personal fight, then so many people should have been. Have you noticed that the OSP doesn't even detain anybody more than 48 hours? Because you remember, he has been a criminal lawyer and he had fought the system against using bail as punishment. And so he's come at the other side and he thinks that the things that I fought against, I cannot perpetuate that.
I want to thank you so much, Sami Darko, for talking to us. I have enjoyed speaking with you. Trust me, we need about 5 more hours to be able. You are an interesting talker, and I really enjoy talking to you. Thank you so much.
Blakk, let me use the opportunity to tell people that there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda against the SP, and it's expected. When you fight corruption, corruption will fight you back.
Yeah.
What people should understand is that there will be a lot of things you hear about us and about the office. They are not true.
They're not true.
But they are presented as if they are true. Sometimes there's a way to verify these things, especially when they talk about extravagant lifestyle. He goes abroad and come. The man was traveling long before this, right? And so those activities they wanted to use against the man, you notice that it didn't work out. And they want to revive it and all that, thinking that Ghanaians think that if you are living an exorbitant life, but he has not lived any life. He's not spent anyone's money. He's not spent the office's money.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sami, for talking to us. We appreciate you. From the office of the Special Prosecutor. Oh my God, Sami Darko, my very good brethren. And I want to say thank you so much. And of course, I just got a message from the Special Prosecutor. Oh, that's a beautiful message. He says he's enjoying the whole interview. Oh, and he says, say hi to Sami for me. And he says, please play me Ankwanoma before you end the show.
I almost said play Ankwanoma because people will now understand. You see, Ankwanoma song talks about 3 beds. Are you aware?
Yeah.
It's like a reggae tune, 3 beds.
Okay.
It's 3 beds. One of them
is a baller bed.
A baller bed.
Okay.
The other one is the one who is trying to create a hole inside the tree. I've forgotten the name.
The woodpecker.
The woodpecker.
Yes.
And he said Juma.
Yes.
To be using just your mouth to create a hole.
My God.
It's a deadly job. He's saying that this job is a deadly job. So, and the third one is which one? There are 3 beds.
Wow.
Once you play it, your listeners will know. He was just trying to say that.
Dankwansere.
And yet, me penny say, me take one. As a sebre na manabasa. So He was using these 3 birds to tell a story.
That's right.
Yes.
And which of the birds is Mr. Kiseya being?
All the 3.
Oh my God.
That was saying the penny but
Then
now that he has been given the job and he has accepted it, he needs to do it. Then the job that he's doing, and then the other bed, the baller bed.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have anything to do with the baller bed. It's a lonely job to be fighting corruption. You have no friends.
No friends.
No friends. Everyone thinks that you're after them.
Thank you.